Hey everybody, so it's Sunday, which means it's time to look at the best games of the week for this week in the NHL, starting with today and going through Saturday. And there aren't a ton of fantastic matchups this week. The end of the week is definitely better than the beginning, but there are definitely some great games and ones worth watching for sure. Starting with which will probably be the best tonight, Calgary versus Edmonton play tonight. And there's really not much to say about that other than the Battle of Alberta is back. And if you want to know why this is probably my favorite game of the week and going to be the best one, just go back and watch my video on the last time these two teams played. I will link that somewhere in this video. It was incredible, and I'm thinking that this game is going to be just as intense, just as physical, and just as much of a blast to watch. So I cannot wait. I will be watching Calgary and Edmonton tonight, and I suggest that you all do as well. Tomorrow, Monday, December 10th, we have Pittsburgh versus the New York Islanders. The Islanders just pulled back into a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference with their win over Detroit last night. Pittsburgh, behind the Islanders in the standings, they obviously want that playoff spot. So, that's going to be a really, really good game. Division rivals, two teams that don't really like each other much in the Penguins and Islanders. And two teams near, fighting for a bottom playoff spot. I know it's not the end of the season or anything where teams are desperately fighting to get in. But anytime there's important playoff position on the line, it's an important game for both teams, whether it's early in the season or the end of the season. Every team, points are at a premium, and every team wants to win as many games as possible. Tuesday, the 11th, we have Edmonton versus Colorado. Edmonton has been playing much better under Ken Hitchcock, as I said in my video yesterday. They have a real tough test. They have a lot of tough. They have real tough tests this entire week. They're playing they're playing Calgary tonight. Then they have to go to Colorado and to Winnipeg. We're gonna find out what kind of team the Oilers are, and that is a great matchup against Colorado, who is absolutely on fire right now. I know they lost their last game, but they're absolutely tearing it up right now and playing great hockey. So Edmonton versus Colorado should be a really, really good game. Nothing on Wednesday the 12th. Only a few games that night and nothing spectacular. Thursday the 13th. Toronto versus Tampa Bay. That's going to be a heck of a game. You have the two best teams in the Atlantic Division. That's going to be a high-scoring game, I would imagine. A lot of offensive power in that game. Two elite, high-end teams facing off. Tampa Bay right now is the best team in the league. That's going to be a great matchup. Toronto versus Tampa Bay in the division. It's just going to be awesome. And that night, as I mentioned earlier, Edmonton versus Winnipeg. These next three games are going to be huge for Edmonton. They're going to either show that they're ready to be a playoff team or that they're not. And they have real good competition in their next three games. And them playing Winnipeg, Canadian rivalry, teams that are really, really need points, especially Edmonton. Winnipeg's in pretty good shape, although they're not the dominant team that I think many of us thought they would be. But Edmonton is desperate for points and wants to pull into a playoff spot in the Pacific Division. So playing teams like Colorado and Winnipeg are going to be huge for the Oilers. December 14th, Friday night, Boston versus Pittsburgh. Anytime Boston and Pittsburgh meet up, it's a great game. Pittsburgh has not been as good this year, I think, as a lot of people expected. Boston, they've struggled a little bit without Bergeron and Chara and many others injured right now for the Bruins. They're kind of treading water a little bit in the East. They did have a huge win last night against Toronto in what was an absolutely spectacular game to watch. But playing Pittsburgh, who isn't the dominant team that they usually are, is going to be a fun matchup for the Bruins. And even though they're not in the same division, there's a lot of animosity between the Bruins and Penguins. So that should be a really entertaining game. Also that night, Colorado versus St. Louis. St. Louis is absolutely desperate for points, trying to climb back into the playoff picture out west. Colorado, again, on fire, one of the hottest teams in the league, almost catching Nashville for first place in the Central Division. Central Division matchup and rivalry. That's going to be a fantastic game. And finally, on Saturday, the 15th, we have Buffalo versus Washington. Washington has climbed back to the top of the Metropolitan Division. They've been playing really, really good hockey lately. Buffalo had their 10-game win streak, but now have lost 5 straight since then. So Buffalo is desperate to beat good teams and get back in the win column. That's going to be an awesome matchup for sure. And a really, Buffalo has a chance to win a statement game against Washington on Saturday night. And lastly, Dallas versus Colorado. Again, Colorado, you're hearing them a lot because they are going for first place in the Central. And they're playing divisional opponents a lot, and they're playing important opponents a lot right now. And Dallas is another one of those divisional games that are really, really important. Dallas, a wild card team at this point, trying to move up in the standings and solidify themselves in a playoff position. Colorado going for first place, divisional rivalry. A lot of these I talk about the Central Division and how much fun it is when those teams meet up with each other, and these interdivisional games are just fantastic. Definitely the best games to watch, and I expect a lot from Dallas versus Colorado. That should be a really, really good matchup. So these are the best games of this week, what I think will be the best games this week. There aren't a ton of them, but it gets better later in the week, and there are definitely some awesome matchups worth watching. Calgary versus Edmonton is can't-miss hockey, and you'll see Edmonton a lot throughout this week on this list. They have some really, really important games for them. Colorado going for first place to trying to pass Nashville in the Central Division. Really big week for them, and some other great games. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. Check out offthewallhockey.com. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are also in the description. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you get to watch some of these games. I know I will. And talk to you guys soon.